My mentor, Mr. Earl Schoaf, once looked at me and said, "Jim, if you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune." At 25 years old, I was broke. I was behind on my promises, and I was looking for a way out. I was a person of high ambition but low skill. I had the want to, but I lacked the how to. I spent my nights staring at the ceiling, wondering why the world seemed to be moving ahead while I was standing still. I thought the answer was the company. If only they would change their policy. I thought the answer was the economy. If only the interest rates would drop. I thought the answer was the taxes. If only the government would leave more in my pocket. I thought the answer was my paycheck. If only my boss would recognize my hard work. But Schoaf told me something that shattered my worldview and rebuilt it from the ground up. He looked at my list of excuses and he smiled a weary smile. He said, "Jim, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better." He said, "The marketplace does not pay for your need, it pays for your value." This is the Mauk iron wisdom hike of the ages. It is a cold bucket of water to the face of the dreamer, but it is the solid rock upon which a fortune is built. The marketplace is not a charitable organization. It is not your mother. It doesn't care that you are behind on your rent. It doesn't care that your car needs a new transmission. It doesn't care about your sincerity or your good intentions. The marketplace is a giant impersonal scale. On one side, it puts your contribution. On the other side, it puts your compensation. If the scale is tipped against you, the answer isn't to beg the scale for mercy. The answer is to put more weight on your side. The indifferent fairness of the marketplace. Let us begin with the concept of the marketplace. The marketplace is perfectly fair because it is perfectly indifferent. It operates on the law of cause and effect. If you sow seeds of average, you will harvest a crop of average. If you bring a basic skill to the market, you will receive a basic wage. You can cry, you can protest, you can write letters to the editor, but the market will not budge. How do we define value? Value is the service, the skill, and the wisdom you bring to the hour. Most people try to get more money by asking for more hours. They say, "I'll work double shifts, I'll work weekends." But there are only 24 hours in a day. Even the most ambitious person eventually hits a wall of exhaustion. If you are limited by your time, you are limited by your income. Your income becomes a function of your physical presence. That is a dangerous way to live. The only way to break the ceiling is to become more valuable to the hour. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to that hour. Think of the ladder of contribution. Low-value tasks that almost anyone can do with 5 minutes of training. Because the supply of people is high, the reward is low. High-value tasks that require rare skill, deep wisdom, or extreme temperament. Because the supply is low, the reward is astronomical. A surgeon gets paid more than a janitor, not because he is a better human being in the eyes of God, but because he has spent a decade in a library and a decade in a theater of operation. He has developed a rare value. If you want to be wealthy, you must become a rare person. You must develop skills that the average person is too lazy to acquire. You must develop a temperament that the average person is too volatile to maintain. The 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. To work on yourself effectively, you must understand the mechanics of a human life. I've broken it down into 5 major pieces. 1. Philosophy, the rudder. The first is philosophy. This is what you know. It is the way you process information. Your philosophy is the rudder of your ship. 2 people can look at the same event, a market crash, for instance, and have 2 different philosophies. One says, "This is the end. I must hide my money and wait for the wreckage." The other says, "This is an opportunity. Everything is on sale." Your philosophy is built by what you allow into your mind. If your philosophy is, "I'm doing enough to not get fired," then your results will be, "I'm making enough to not starve." That is a poor philosophy. An iron philosophy says, "I will become so good that they cannot ignore me." It says, "I will provide more service than I am paid for as an investment in my future reputation." The second piece is attitude. This is how you feel. Many people have the right skills but the wrong attitude. They are cynical. They are bitter. They have what I call the disease of the if-on lies. If only the boss liked me. If only I lived in a different city. But here is the truth. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You can't change the seed and you can't change the soil, but you can change how you react to the harvest. A positive, disciplined attitude is a magnet for opportunity. Doors open for the cheerful that remain locked for the grumpy. The third piece is activity. This is what you do. Success is a numbers game. It is the result of labor, but not just any labor. Intelligent labor. Working harder on yourself means becoming more efficient in your activity. Ants never quit. If you put an obstacle in their way, they go over, under, or around. They gather in the summer because they know the winter is coming. They stay positive in the winter because they know the summer is near. That is the activity of a person who has worked on their internal discipline. They don't work when they feel like it. They work because the season demands it. The fourth piece is results. This is the harvest. In life, we must all suffer one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Neglect is a quiet killer. It starts as a small infection and becomes a giant disease. One day of not reading, one day of not exercising, one day of not practicing your craft, it seems like nothing. But accumulated over a decade, it is the difference between a life of abundance and a life of desperation. Your results are a mirror. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, don't break the mirror. Change the person standing in front of it. The final piece is lifestyle. This is how you live. Lifestyle is the art of learning how to be happy with what you have while you pursue what you want. If you are a miserable person, money will make you a miserable person with a big house. But if you are a generous, disciplined, and wise person, money will give you the power to magnify those virtues. Your character is the vessel that holds your wealth. If the vessel is cracked, the wealth will leak out through bad habits and poor decisions. If the vessel is strong, the wealth will overflow. How do we practically work on ourselves? It begins with self-education. Standard education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. You must become a student of your own life. You must read the books that others are too tired to read. You must listen to the voices of those who have already climbed the mountain. I used to tell Mr. Schoaf, the books cost too much. He said, Jim, it's not what the book costs. It's what it will cost you if you don't read it. The cost of ignorance is far higher than the cost of a library. The cost of a $20 book is nothing compared to the $20,000 mistake it could have helped you avoid. You must develop a hunger for ideas. Ideas are the currency of the future. A person with one good idea can change their life in 24 hours. The circle of association. You must also surround yourself with the right people. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you spend your time with people who have no goals, no discipline, and no desire to grow, you will eventually become like them. Ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, who am I around? 2, what are they doing to me? 3, is that okay? You must be willing to walk away from the wrong table to find the right one. This is the discipline of association. Mastering time and the seasons. Time is the most valuable currency you have. Once it is spent, it is gone forever. Working on yourself means learning how to say no to the trivial so you can say yes to the vital. The seasons of life. Life is a series of cycles. Spring opportunity, the time to plant. If you don't plant in the spring, you will beg in the fall. Autumn harvest, the time to reap what you sowed. Winter preparation, the time to study and build strength for the next cycle. Most people spend the spring sleeping, the summer playing, and the autumn complaining. But the person who works on themselves understands the seasons. They know that neglect creates a desert, while labor creates a garden. Working harder on yourself than your job means taking 100% responsibility. It is the end of the blame list. I used to blame the government, the taxes, my boss, and the high prices. Then Mr. Schoaf told me, Jim, there's only one problem with your list. You aren't on it. When I put myself on the list, my life began to change. I realized that if I changed, everything would change for me. If I got better, the prices wouldn't matter. If I got more skillful, the company policy would work in my favor. This is the ultimate power. When you take 100% responsibility for your life, you take 100% control of your destiny. Chasing money is like chasing a shadow. The faster you run, the faster it moves away. But if you walk toward the light, the shadow follows you. The light is your personal development. The light is your value. The light is your character. When you become a person of high value, money doesn't have to be chased. It is attracted. This is why some people can lose everything in a market crash and have it all back in 2 years. They didn't lose their value, they only lost their paper. The man who becomes a millionaire is more important than the $1 million. In conclusion, remember this: the major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become. When you reach the end of your journey, the question won't be, how much did I make? The question will be, who did I become? If you have become a person of character, a person of skill, and a person of service, then you have won the game of life. The money will be there. The recognition will be there. But more importantly, the self-respect will be there. You will be able to look in the mirror and know that you didn't just occupy space, you added value. You didn't just survive, you thrived. So, starting today, stop working so hard on your job and start working harder on yourself. Build the man. Build the woman. The fortune will follow. That is the promise of the iron wisdom. That is the law of the marketplace. And that is the secret to a life well lived. Let us go deeper into the specific mechanics of this transformation. When I say you must work harder on yourself than your job, I am talking about a total overhaul of your internal operating system. Most people are operating on software that was written by a well-meaning but average environment. They are running on the survival program, the pay the bills program, the hope everything works out program. But to build a fortune, you must delete those files and install the Architect of Destiny program. Let's re-examine the marketplace. If you want to master the marketplace, you must understand the law of scarcity. Why does the world pay a king's ransom for a diamond and pennies for a pebble? Is it because the diamond is better in some moral sense? No. It is because the diamond is rare. It is because the process of creating a diamond requires intense heat, immense pressure, and a vast amount of time. The average person is like a pebble. They are everywhere. They have the same skills, the same complaints, and the same level of effort. If you are a pebble, the marketplace can replace you in an afternoon. But if you want to be paid like a diamond, you must subject yourself to the heat of discipline and the pressure of self-imposed high standards. You must become rare. What makes a person rare? It is the intersection of 3 things: specialized skill, a high-performance character, and the ability to solve problems that others run away from. Most people spend their lives looking for the easy jobs. They want the job with the least stress and the most comfort. But the easy jobs are the ones that pay the least. If you want to be wealthy, look for the problems that everyone else is ignoring. Look for the challenges that make others quit. When you solve a difficult problem, you aren't just earning a check, you are increasing your market value for the rest of your life. To work on yourself, you must build upon the 12 pillars of self-mastery. These are the bricks of your character. The first pillar is personal responsibility. We've touched on this, but let's go deeper. Most people have a blame list that is miles long. They blame their parents for their upbringing. They blame their teachers for what they weren't taught. They blame the economy for their lack of savings. But here is the secret. You cannot build a mansion on a foundation of excuses. The moment you say, "It's not my fault," you are saying, "I have no power." If it's the government's fault, you have to wait for the government to change. If it's your boss's fault, you have to wait for your boss to change. But if it's all your own fault, you can change today. You can pick up a book today. You can make a call today. The second pillar is physical well-being. You cannot perform like a champion in a body that you treat like a dumpster. Your health is the engine of your ambition. I'm not saying you have to be an Olympic athlete, but you must respect the vehicle. If you had a $1 million racehorse, would you let it stay up all night eating junk food? Of course not. You have a $1 billion mind. Treat the body that houses it with dignity. Exercise is not just about muscles. It's about the discipline of the will. When you tell your body to run an extra mile when it wants to quit, you are training your mind to persist when the marketplace gets tough. The third pillar is mental clarity. This is the art of selective ignorance. We live in an age of information overload. Most people are drowning in trivia. They know the latest celebrity gossip, but they don't know the basic laws of economics. They know the scores of every game, but they haven't read a book on philosophy in 10 years. You must guard the door of your mind. Do not let mental junk food into your sanctuary. Fill your mind with the thoughts of the greats. Read the biographies of those who have done what you want to do. If you want to be a leader, read about Lincoln. If you want to be an entrepreneur, read about the titans of industry. The fourth pillar is emotional intelligence. This is the ability to master your moods. A man who cannot control his temper is a man who cannot control his future. The marketplace is volatile. People will lie to you. Markets will crash. Competitors will play dirty. If your emotions are at the mercy of the environment, you are a leaf in the wind. You must develop an iron temperament. You must be the calmest person in the room when the storm is hitting. This is internal work. It's the work of meditation, reflection, and self-control. The fifth pillar is spiritual depth. Whatever your faith, you must have a connection to something larger than your own ego. Success without a sense of purpose is a hollow victory. Working on yourself means finding your why. Why do you want the fortune? Is it just for the cars and the houses? Those things will get old in 6 months. But if your why is to provide for your family, to help your community, and to leave a legacy, that why will pull you through the dark nights when you want to quit. The sixth pillar is social grace. You don't get rich in a vacuum. You get rich by working with people. You must master the art of communication. You must learn how to listen, truly listen to what people need. Most people are so busy talking about themselves that they never hear the opportunity knocking. Working on yourself means becoming a person that people enjoy being around. It means being a person of your word. If you say you'll be there at 8 Al, be there at 7:55. The seventh pillar is financial literacy. You must learn the laws of money. Most people work for money, but they never learn how to make money work for them. They spend everything they make. They are high-income poor. They have a $200,000 salary and a $205,000 lifestyle. To work on yourself, you must learn the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Buy assets first, then buy the luxuries with the profit from the assets. The eighth pillar is time management. We've discussed this, but remember, the poor spend their time and save their money. The rich save their time and spend their money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. Treat every hour like a precious jewel. Do not spend major time on minor things. The ninth pillar is the spirit of service. The greatest among us are the servants of many. If you find a way to serve 1 million people, you will become a millionaire. If you serve 1 billion, you will be a billionaire. Stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I give? The getting is a natural byproduct of the giving. The 10th pillar is persistence. This is the ant philosophy. It is the refusal to accept defeat. Failure is not a destination. It is a detour. It is information. It tells you that your current plan didn't work, so you need a better plan. The 11th pillar is vision. You must see the future before it exists. You must have a clear picture of the man or woman you want to become. Write it down. Describe your life 5 years from now in vivid detail. If the vision is clear, the price is easy. The 12th pillar is character. This is the foundation of everything. Integrity is not a sometimes thing. It is an all the time thing. Be the kind of person that people can trust with their life and their money. Your reputation is your most valuable asset in the marketplace. The psychology of the 70-10-10-10 rule. To truly work on yourself, you must master your personal economy. I have a simple rule that has made more people wealthy than almost any other piece of advice. The 70-10-10-10 rule. Most people live on 100% of what they make. Some even live on 110%. They use credit cards to bridge the gap. That is a philosophy of disaster. If you want to change your life, you must learn to live on 70% of your net income. That 70% is for your necessities and your lifestyle. It's for the rent, the food, and the fun. What do you do with the other 30%? 10% goes to charity. You must give back. This isn't just for the people you help. It's for your own spirit. Giving reminds you that you live in a world of abundance. It breaks the scarcity mindset that keeps people poor. 10% goes to active capital. This is your seed money. You don't spend this, you invest it. You buy a small piece of a business. You buy a stock, you buy something you can flip for a profit. This is how you build your fortune while you're making your living. 10% goes to passive capital. This is for your long-term security. This is the sleep well at night fund. If you start this today, even if you're only making a small amount, you are training yourself for the fortune that is coming. If you can't manage $1,000, you will never be able to manage $1,000. The discipline is the same. Let's talk about winter. Winter is a part of life. There are economic winters, personal winters, and health winters. Most people react to winter by complaining. They say, "Why is it so cold? Why is the market so bad?" But the person who works on themselves understands that winter is necessary. Winter is the time when the weak are separated from the strong. You cannot change the winter, but you can get stronger. You can get a thicker coat. You can build a warmer fire. When an economic winter hits, a recession, a layoff, a crash, the average person panics. They crawl into a hole and wait for the spring. But the Rohn student uses the winter to study. They use the winter to sharpen their skills. They know that while everyone else is sleeping, they are getting ahead. Summer is also a season that requires work. Summer is the time of protection. This is when the bugs and the weeds come for your progress. The weeds of life are the small distractions. It's the invitation to a party when you should be studying. It's the new opportunity that sounds too good to be true and distracts you from your core mission. You must be a weed puller. If you don't kill the weeds in your garden, they will kill your harvest. I want to talk more about your library. If I came to your house today and looked at your bookshelf, what would I find? Would I find books that challenge you? Would I find the wisdom of the ages? Or would I find a stack of magazines and the TV guide? You must become a collector of ideas. Every time you read a book, you are having a conversation with the author. If you read the thoughts of a billionaire, you are letting a billionaire mentor you for $20. That is the greatest bargain in history. Read about history, so you can see that the problems we face today are nothing new. Read about philosophy, so you can learn how to think, not just what to think. Read about sales and persuasion, because no matter what you do, you are in the business of moving people. If you can't persuade someone to see your value, you will remain underpaid. Your associations are either a wind at your back or a weight around your neck. I use the 33% rule for my time. Spend 33% of your time with people below you. Not in value as humans, but in terms of where they are on the journey. These are the people you are mentoring. You give back to them. This keeps you humble and reminds you of how far you've come. Spend 33% of your time with your peers. These are the people who are in the trenches with you. They challenge you. They keep you sharp. Spend 33% of your time with people above you. These are the people who make you uncomfortable. These are the people who have 10 times your income and 100 times your wisdom. When you sit at their table, don't talk. Listen. Ask questions. Observe how they treat people. Observe how they handle their time. If you are the smartest person in your circle is too small. You must be willing to be the small fish in a big pond. That is where the growth happens. It takes guts to walk into a room where you feel like you don't belong, but that is exactly where you belong if you want to grow. Success is not a lightning bolt event. It is the result of what I call the slight edge. It is the small disciplines practiced consistently over time. It's easy to read 10 pages of a good book, but it's also easy not to. It's easy to eat an apple a day, but it's also easy not to. It's easy to make those 5 extra sales calls, but it's also easy not to. The difference between success and failure is the not to. To bring your value to the marketplace, you must be able to communicate it. You can be the most skillful person in the world, but if you can't explain your value to others, you will be a best-kept secret. And secrets don't make fortunes. Working on yourself means working on your vocabulary. Words are the tools of thought. If you have a limited vocabulary, you have a limited way of thinking. Learn how to tell a story. People don't buy products, they buy stories, they buy visions. They buy the better version of themselves that you are offering. Learn the art of active listening. Most people are just waiting for their turn to speak. If you become a person who truly understands the pain and the desires of others, the world will beat a path to your door. Communication is not just about what you say, it's about what they hear. We must talk about goals. Most people spend more time planning their 2-week vacation than they do planning their entire life. They are drifting, and a ship without a destination never arrives at a port. It arrives on the rocks. Goal setting is not just about getting things. It's about who you become in the process of achieving them. I tell people to set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the $1 million, but for what you have to become to earn it. You have to become a person of discipline. You have to become a person of focus. You have to become a person of character. Once you have the character of a millionaire, you can lose the money and you'll get it back in a fraction of the time. Write down your goals in 4 areas. 1. Economic goals. How much do you want to earn? What assets do you want to own? 2. Personal development goals. What skills do you want to master? What books do you want to read? What kind of health do you want to have? 3. Relationship goals. What kind of father, mother, husband, or wife do you want to be? What kind of friends do you want to have? 4. Contribution goals. What do you want to give back to the world? Review these goals every single morning. Let them be the first things your mind processes when you wake up. If you don't have a plan for your day, someone else will use you for their plan. The most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. What do you say when you fail? Do you say, "I'm a loser," or do you say, "I'm a winner who is currently learning a valuable lesson"? Your subconscious mind is like a servant. It doesn't question your orders. It simply executes them. If you tell yourself, "I'm always broke," your subconscious will find ways to make sure you stay broke. It will make you overlook opportunities. It will make you spend money impulsively. You must program your servant. You must speak to yourself with authority and faith. Use affirmations, but don't just say them. Feel them. I am becoming more valuable every day. I am a magnet for opportunity. I am a person of discipline and character. This is the internal work that creates the external fortune. Let's go back to the ants. Why are they so successful? Because they have a 4-part philosophy. 1. Ants never quit. If they're headed somewhere and you try to stop them, they'll look for another way. They'll go up, they'll go down, they'll go around. They keep looking for another way. What a philosophy. To never quit looking for a way to get where you're supposed to go. 2. Ants think winter all summer. You can't be so naive as to think summer will last forever. So ants are gathering their winter food in the middle of summer. You've got to think rocks as you're enjoying the sand. You've got to think ahead. 3. Ants think summer all winter. That is so important. During the winter, ants remind themselves, "This won't last long. We'll soon be out of here." And the first warm day, the ants are out. If it turns cold again, they dive back down. But the first warm day, they are out. They can't wait to get out. 2. How much will an ant gather during the summer to prepare for the winter? All he possibly can. What a great philosophy, the all you possibly can philosophy. Are you doing all you possibly can, or are you doing just enough? If you do just enough, you will get just enough. But if you do all you possibly can, you will open the storehouse of abundance. Working on yourself requires brutal honesty. You must look at the small errors in judgment that you are making every day. Is that extra hour of sleep really worth the loss of momentum? Is that comfort food really worth the brain fog it creates? Is that easy conversation really worth avoiding the difficult one that would solve the problem? Success is not a mystery. It is the natural result of a series of small disciplines. Failure is not a mystery. It is the natural result of a series of small errors in judgment. One error doesn't kill you. One day of not exercising won't give you a heart attack. One day of overspending won't make you bankrupt. But the accumulation of these errors over 5 or 10 years creates a disaster. The same is true for success. One day of reading won't make you a genius. One day of saving won't make you wealthy, but the accumulation of these disciplines creates a masterpiece. I want to give you a specific challenge. I call it the 90-day personal evolution. For the next 90 days, I want you to commit to 3 things. 1, the hour of power. Wake up 1 hour earlier than usual. Spend 20 minutes reading, 20 minutes planning your day, and 20 minutes exercising. This is working on yourself before you go to work on your job. 2, the library phase. Read 1 book every 10 days. That's 9 books in 90 days. Most people don't read 9 books in 9 years. You will have an unfair advantage over everyone in your marketplace. 3, the gratitude journal. Every night, write down 3 things you are grateful for and 1 thing you did that day to increase your value. At the end of 90 days, you won't even recognize the person in the mirror. You will have more energy, more ideas, and more confidence. And you will notice that the marketplace starts to react to you differently. Opportunities will start to find you. At the end of your life, there will be a final examination. Not the kind you take in school, but the kind you take with your own soul. The questions won't be about your bank balance or your title. The questions will be, did you develop your potential? Did you use the talents you were given? Did you help others along the way? Did you become the person you were capable of becoming? If you spend all your time working on your job, you might pass the survival test, but you will fail the destiny test. But if you work on yourself, if you build your character, your wisdom, and your value, you will pass with honors. The world is waiting for you to step up. The marketplace is hungry for people of value. Your family is waiting for the leader you are meant to be. Do not let them down, but most importantly, do not let yourself down. You have the seeds of a titan within you. You have the mind of an architect. You have the heart of a servant. Stop settling for good enough. Stop accepting average. Average is for the people who haven't heard this message, but you have heard it. And once you know the truth, you are responsible for it. You can no longer plead ignorance. You know the way to the fortune. It is the path of self-development. It is the path of the iron wisdom. Go out today and start laying the bricks. Pick up the book. Make the plan. Discipline the mood. Set the sail. The wind is blowing. It's blowing for us all. But you, my friend, are going to arrive at a beautiful destination. You are going to build a life that is not just successful, but significant. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, and I'll see you at the top. The harvest is great and the workers are few. Be one of the few. Be the rare person. Be the diamond. Your fortune is waiting. Go and attract it. What is the good life? It's not just about the money. Jim, you say, I want the money. But I tell you, money without a philosophy is a disaster. The good life is a life of balance. It is a life where you have the health to enjoy your wealth. It is a life where you have the friends to share your success. Working on yourself means learning how to be a person of culture. Learn about the arts, learn about music, learn how to appreciate a fine meal and a good conversation. A person of high value is a person of broad interests. Do not be a one-dimensional person who only knows how to make a dollar. Be a multi-dimensional person who knows how to live. This is the ultimate work. It's the work of a lifetime. It never ends. Even when you have the fortune, you must keep working on yourself, because the person who has $1 million must have the character to handle it, or they will lose it. And the person who has $1 billion must have even more. Success is a journey, not a destination. It is a process of constant refinement. It is the process of becoming a master of the hour. Each hour is a new opportunity to bring more value. Each day is a new opportunity to set a better sail. Take that blame list you've been carrying and burn it. It's trash. It's holding you back. From this moment forward, your only list is the growth list. What can I learn today? Who can I help today? How can I be better than I was yesterday? If you do this, I promise you the marketplace will take notice. The universe will take notice. You will become a light in a world that is often dark. You will be a source of inspiration for others. And that, in the end, is the greatest fortune of all. Go to work, not just for the paycheck, but for the person you are becoming. The person you are becoming is the greatest project you will ever work on. Treat it with the respect it deserves. Be the architect, be the builder, be the masterpiece. That is the iron wisdom. That is the path. Now go and walk it, my dear friend.